Cut out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is a terrifying Tuesday. Later today, I'm hoping it'll be a Taco Tuesday, but right now it's terrifying Tuesday. What's terrifying, folks, is the extremism in government. It is beyond extreme. It is terrifying to be a citizen, to worry about what is going to come next. I'll tell you. I ran into an article, and it said, hey, guess what? The Department of Homeland Security, are they going after, well, extreme anti-American groups? No, of course not. They want extreme pro-American groups. They're throwing $20 million at churches, schools, well, doctors and hospitals, of course, as well as, sending money to police departments. And what they're doing is they're looking for extremists in America. You want to know what's extreme, in my opinion? Extreme is when the government steals your money because it says it has a right to steal your money. I just can't, boy, I tell you, I can't think of much of anything that could be more extreme than the idea that government or any entity has the right, or shall I say the authority, to steal from someone else. And they think that's extreme. And what's even more extreme is the fact that they take this money that they steal from you. If you don't pay the money, they'll come and take your property. And when they take your property, they do it with police and guns. Or they take you to court. And if you don't go to court to allow them to steal your money, again, you allow them to steal your money by going to court, then they'll come and arrest you. And there's always a gun behind every threat and every move the government makes. That's pretty extreme, don't you think? I don't go deal with the government with a gun. No, of course not. I do not pull my gun out every time someone disobeys me or does something I don't like or scares me or intimidates me. No, that's extremism, folks. But extremism is an extraordinary thing. When a government is so afraid of its own people, its own patriots, that it steals money from people and then it pays other people to find its enemies, to proclaim its enemies, to point out its enemies. Isn't it pretty obvious? You would think it'd be very obvious to find extremism. And you can find it on at any government website. Read the laws. That is some extreme shit. If you park here, we'll tow your vehicle and steal it. You're subject to a fine or a penalty. That's pretty fucking extreme. Slow down. Hurry up. Get a license. Do this, do that. Pay your registration, taxes. Or, extreme. That's pretty fucking extreme. Under penalty of law. Perjury. Now I understand we need rules. We need to play by things. We got a lot of people out here and there are a lot of knuckleheads. I get it. But I want to point out extreme. Extreme, right? There are people out there who proclaim them to be themselves the enemies of humanity. Right? These evil bastards that want to kill babies. They want to molest children. They want children to destroy themselves, their bodies, their lives by taking drugs. There's some really extreme people out there who proclaim the most awful things. Like they want to leave the southern border open. They're always pushing for war and destruction. They take bribes. These are some awful, awful extremists out there. They're easy to find. Yeah, I just pointed out government again, didn't I? And Democrats. Funny how that works. It's easy to see them. I just pointed out some very extreme things. Having drag queens dance with children, that's pretty extreme. But the government is interested in, well, patriots. People who are patriotic. People who like freedom. People who are willing to stand up for what they believe in. How is that extreme? Well, as Barry Goldwater said, extremism in defense of liberty is no vice. We can't have that. You see, it really is true that everything can be viewed as extreme, as long as the other perspective from which you view it, right, is the opposite. The opposite of something is always extreme. To the socialist, the libertarian, someone who loves not being screwed with by the government. To the socialist, a libertarian is an awful person, an extreme person. A separatist, someone who wants minimal government to the point of they will live in a very primitive state. A separatist is considered an extremist by those who think that you should live around lots of people and, you know, you're such an evil person because you've had it with government and people and idiocy and lunacy, and you just want a minimalist lifestyle. Oh, okay, if you want that, have at it. As far as I'm concerned, do what you want. But I'm a tad bit of a libertarian myself. You know, I like my quiet, being away from people, but then, as you see, I zero dark 30 it into the treacherous wasteland of humanity. It's crazy. But the government wants to pay for extremism. Now, the second part of what's so frightening about this is the organizations they go to. Schools. They're looking for extremists. They want schools to tell. Well, what is in schools? Children. Children. Well, I've already pointed out that teachers are pretty damn extremists because of what they do to children, and they push on children. So it should be embarrassing for them. It should be beyond embarrassing for them. But children aren't extreme, are they? I mean, they can be if the child has been brought up to love liberty and stuff and such. But it sounds more like they would ask children about their parents' belief systems. And where else do they go that seems to be an extreme place to go to look for extremists? Well, a hospital. People in a hospital, they're looking for medical attention. Something is broken, something is cut, something is hurt, something's not working right. A hospital. So what do they want? What are they trying to find out? Well, someone who might be mentally unstable. You know, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Pretty damn unstable, don't you think? Well, hospital, they can find out. But what do they do? What do they do? They ask you well, what are your pronouns and what's your gender identity? They start asking you socially invasive questions. Not to invade your privacy, but to invade your belief system. Your belief system. Let's find out if you're extreme. If you believe in two genders, you're extreme. If you believe that men can't have babies, you're an extremist, right? If you don't agree with their shit that they're pushing, you're an extremist. So that's what they're finding in hospitals. What about churches? Well, you want to hear an extreme story. There's this guy named Jesus, and he was crucified for being king of the Jews by the Romans, and they say he came back to life after 3 days of being dead. Well, if you believe that, you must be an extremist. But more than that, folks, they're looking for people in church who don't fit into the normal church mentality. In my opinion, churches promote the idea, the concept of obedience to government. They really do. They want people to be very, very obedient. Right? Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, yada, 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 yada. So they're going to places where people should normally feel safe. Schools, hospitals, church. And then the police are also supposed to protect you. Now, how extreme is that? Government coming after you in places of safety. All they have to do is come on the internet. They can talk to someone like me. Well, that's right. They could talk to me. And we can sit down and have a very calm, rational, logical discussion about liberty, rights, history, philosophy. You can do it over a game of chess, cup of coffee, stogie and a scotch. All they'd have to do is just show up and be decent freaking human beings. And not show up at 3 a.m. and kick your fucking door down. Because they think you're a bad person. Because that's the kind of world we're entering now. Are you prepared for what's coming next? Chance favors the prepared mind. Welcome to the Tuesday Terrors.